Grace, Kelly, and Jill.
Hi!
Hi! And this week on our video, we're going to talk about resurrecting. We're trying to resurrect Merlin here, and we're going to talk about our battle of the sludge. The fuel pump and the fuel tank turned into a much bigger project than we expected, and we're going to share our experience and the disgustingness of the sludge in the gas tank.
And the high temperature in Arizona on that day.
Yes, 105.
Yeah.
So it's been a battle to deal with. So we're going to share that experience with you, and hope you enjoy it.
Okay.
Grace took the first steps in taking the fittings, the ring, and the fuel pump out.
My first step for getting the fuel pump out was to undo the fittings that connected to the fuel lines. I had issues with leverage and upper body strength, but eventually I prevailed. Next step is to remove the ring that secures the fuel pump. We have a fancy tool that we could not find to do it, so I had to do it the old-fashioned way, with a hammer and a punch. Eventually I got the ring out and then encountered the problem of pulling the pump out. In order to get enough leverage, I had to get myself into some weird position. After about an hour's worth of work, I finally was able to get the pump out, and nothing could have prepared me for how gross and disgusting the pump was.
Grace decides to try her hand at siphoning gas. She gives it a try and is not successful. So then I give it a try, and after several attempts, we discover that it is mostly just sludge in the bottom of the tank and not a lot of gas. At this point, we realize we have to wipe out the gas tank. So we start with old rags to soak it up in the bottom of the tank.
I have never been so glad to be the camera person in my life. And yes, the cameraman is the most important job.
Keep in mind, at this point, it is over 100 degrees, and we have been breathing gas fumes for over an hour. At this point, the gloves we are wearing are starting to melt on our hands, and our hands and our arms are starting to burn. We decided to keep going even though it was afternoon and it was around 105 degrees because we did not want to come back next week and have to get disgusting covered in gasoline again. We took a break, went inside to the air conditioning, regrouped, and then went to Ace Hardware smelling of gasoline and got new supplies. We must have smelled really bad because even the dogs at Ace didn't want to go near Jill, and Jill is a dog magnet.
A great cameraman always stands directly in front of the camera. To be fair, I was wiping sweat off of my mom and Jill's faces because they were sweating so much and they couldn't touch because their hands were so disgusting.
We realize we are getting close to the end because the rags are no longer wet and we are just cleaning out brown sludge. check out Jill's face. It pretty much sums up week 1 of the battle with the sludge. We came back a week later with a new fuel pump. As you can see, we put the old fuel pump back in because of all the fumes. I removed the old fuel pump and I fit the new seal on the new fuel pump, and I think this is gonna be so easy. I quickly figure out we either have the wrong fuel pump or the incorrect fittings for the fuel pump. It turns out we had the incorrect fittings, so we ordered new fittings. Putting the old fuel pump back in really bummed us all out because we really wanted to try and start the car, and the fuel pump was the last step. But we realized it was going to have to wait another week. For good measure, Jill decides to wipe out the gas tank one last time. Woohoo! It's clean! Correct footings on the fuel pump, and it's going to be an easy fit, right? Never say easy when dealing with a Land Rover. This is where having upper body strength of a male is helpful. As you can see, I try several different methods to try to get the fuel pump in because the seal is really tight, as it should be, so that you don't have fuel fumes. In the past, I have used Vaseline to get various hoses on, but we didn't have any, so we decided on using chapsticks. After all, isn't chapstick mostly Vaseline anyway? The chapstick helped, but it was still tough. Why did I say the word easy? After about a half hour, I got out my persuasion tool, or hammer, and I promptly broke the electrical clip on the fuel pump. After another half hour of trying various different things, we finally got the fuel pump in. Yay! As we are trying to connect the fittings, we feel like we are cross-threading them. So after about a half hour, I realized the ring is in the way. And once I tighten it down, I am able to secure the fittings no problem. Now, of course, because my persuasion tool did not work earlier, I have to tape on the electrical fitting for the fuel pump. Ta-da! After only 3 weeks worth of work, we are done!